Squirrel.
Whatever it is that we're supposed to talk about. Oh, I
Yeah.
think you need to get us in. Hi, welcome.
Oh, yeah. Let me bring us in for landing. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Yeah, I Know, I Know. My name's Kristen.
I'm Jenna.
And
this is Yeah, I Know, I Know.
This is Yeah, I Know, I Know. But I don't know. What are we talking about again? You have the best beanie collection.
I love beanies.
I do too, but like I just can't bring myself to spend like the $30 like on a beanie or something, or 25. Like I feel like beanies should be like $6, even though that's probably not rational because they're like knit and stuff. But
that one was 19 from Urban Outfitters.
That's not horrible.
No, it's
we
not.
need to go shopping again.
I know.
You're a bad influence.
But am I? Okay, next time we go to Davina's, we won't be at the other place.
Yes.
We'll go shopping.
Well, we need to do that video anyway, right? We wanted to do like mommy makeover.
Yes.
Look at this pretty blurple drink.
Blurple. Oh yeah, a couple of you asked us what we're always drinking, and it's always different.
It's Jenna's concoctions. Today, what do we have?
Today we have some wonderful blue raspberry electrolytes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Awesome. It's delicious.
Usually it's like Starbucks or something.
Or water. Very colorful today because my water jug.
Yeah. We always have our water jugs.
Do you love this sticker that Nick put on my water jug?
These are actually getting really popular.
Stanley.
Have you seen these? Have you guys seen these? Like,
it's 1913. What the hell were they making in 1913? An ice box?
Maybe. But this is like the mom's hydro flask. Because it fits in your cup holder in your car.
I do like
and
that.
It has a handle and it has a straw. Like, this is the hydro flask for like 25 and over.
I like that. I do like it.
Yeah. Somebody on your story was like, Jenna's hair looks horrible. I'm like,
on my story?
on your YouTube. The one of us going out. I'm like, that seems very directed.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling I know who you are. So
yeah, your hair didn't look horrible.
No, and I looked at the person. I went back and like, they've never commented on your stuff before. They only subscribe to that and knew that we started the podcast and all that. So I just have a feeling I know who it is. And thanks for trolling.
You fucking bitch. Your
Male
hatred
or
is
female.
ugly. Yeah. What are we talking about again? Oh, jobs.
Past
Jobs.
jobs.
Worst jobs, first jobs, your jobs, our jobs, her jobs. What was your first job?
Babysitting. But I don't know if
legitimately,
that's really,
like
legit, like I got a paycheck. Was a daycare. I guess you would call it daycare teacher. Like like when kids would get out of school, I would be on the daycare team and watch them.
Okay.
That was my very first job. I loved it. I was outside all the time. But I think I probably had like 30 jobs. I think the funniest. Well, what about you? What was your first job?
What's the funniest? Now I want to know.
There's a few. I used to be a sign spinner.
Really?
Yep.
I'm laughing so hard because I just would never have seen that coming, but you got to do what you got to do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Did you want that job? And you were like,
no.
fuck yeah, I'm going to spin signs. I'm going to be best.
No.
Some of them are really good and some of them are really bad.
Yeah, I was not. I was like tanning. But I was with my ex-husband and he was like in between, always in between jobs, and we had no money, and there was an ad for $10 an hour to spin signs, and this is back when like
damn, $10 an hour is pretty good.
Yeah, well, and back then I think the minimum wage was like $6.75.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, hell yeah, I'll go spin signs. I get to be outside all day. I get to get tan. I can walk up and back and forth and like get some exercise or some steps in and hold a freaking sign. So yeah, I mean, it's probably like the most embarrassing, but it's also not, because like I did what I needed to do. But
what were your moves? Like, did you wave at people? There's people that like hold it and like wave at you.
No, I pretty much tried to hold it in front of my face. I actually had a friend from high school like pull over.
Oh no.
And recognize me,
So
and I was just like, oh dear God, like
get me out of here.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. But my husband, like, we only had one car, and oh my God, it was so bad. Like, he would sit in the car and like wait for me sometimes, but then I was like, you need to get your ass out here, and you need to flip signs too. So eventually I got him to do it too. We were both sign flippers. Yeah. The other one was probably working at a paper place. Like like The Office, where they called people and sold paper. That was me.
Oh,
for
Oh
like
gosh.
2 weeks. That's all I did. But
Cold calling. I did that too.
yeah, but I accidentally started a fire in the back because I smoked at the time. And
Oh
I
my
put my
gosh.
cigarette butt out in the ashtray, but I didn't put it out right and completely started a fire. Like my first week.
Smoking inside when you sell paper.
No, I was outside.
Oh,
No, we were outside. There was just a trash can outside.
of course there's paper in it
I,
because you work at a place that
yeah,
sells fucking paper.
I don't know. So it was pretty bad. It was my first week on the job. I
Oh my
only lasted
gosh.
like 2. I got cussed out like 6 times, and I was like, I can't do this. Yeah.
What do you get cussed out for?
Oh, I mean, you cold call people.
Oh,
If you cold call people, you know you get cussed out. People are like, don't fucking call me. You're the Antichrist. I hope you die. Like, I'm just trying to make money.
it's so sad. Like, okay, so that reminds me of a time where Nick was like at a really like low point in his life. Like, I think it was like right before he went to medic school or something, and he needed like money. He had just broken up with someone who was like toxic. And he like was going door to door selling stuff, and he said and he's like was trying to like there were AC units, and he just like would get people that would just slam the door in his face, and it makes me so sad because like I like everyone is like good for you if you have a job. It doesn't matter what you're doing, like as long as you're taking care of yourself, like good for you. And like I just felt so bad because like he's such a good person, and I can't imagine someone slamming a door in his face. Like he was down on his luck, like didn't have any
Aw.
money, and was just trying to like do it. But he was like, I couldn't blame them. Like I wouldn't want to buy an AC unit either. But he was just like, it was really hard. Like he was like, people were so mean, and it made like
He's so sweet too.
yeah, it
I
was
feel like
so
people would be
sad.
like, "Oh, okay, I'll buy one from you."
I'd be like, you're fucking hot. You want to come inside? Check my AC unit out? Naked, maybe? But I feel bad that people are mean to you, too. That's so sad. So I try and remember that when, like, people cold call me. Like, I try not to be an asshole because I know that they are just trying to earn a living. Like, it wasn't their goal to go out and just be, like, annoying as fuck and call people.
Right. I mean, granted, I've been guilty of like getting annoyed with people, but I think now it's a little bit different because there's so many scam calls.
True.
So I feel like people's tolerance to cold calls is like 0 because there are so many scams. So many. So you can't trust anybody that comes to your door even, you know? Like you have to be careful with people. And now it's considered rude if you just like show up at somebody's door.
Oh, yeah.
Where like, you know, a few years ago it was like that's how people greeted you, you know? But now it's like, why the hell are you calling me and why are you at my door? Like
solicitors, I really do hate when people in Nashville, like in my place there, they would just walk up to my door. And I was one time I was like busy like installing a smart lock on my front door and taking the old lock out, and I was like sitting on my butt with like an espresso next to me. It was probably like 100 degrees. Yes, I drink espresso no matter how fucking hot it is. And she like walked up, and I was just like, I tried not to be rude, but I was annoyed inside.
Yeah.
And I was just like, hi, how can I help you? Like, I'm fucking busy. Can you see what I'm doing? But I tried to be like as nice as I possibly could. But yeah, don't walk into people's property and try and sell them shit. Like, annoying.
Yeah, read the room.
Yeah, I also just don't think you should be walking to people's doors and trying to sell them stuff. That's just, to me, it's an invasion of privacy, and you're interrupting my day. Like, the only people I want knocking on my door are people that I have invited over.
Or Amazon.
Or DoorDash. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about people knocking on your door? Like,
or calling you.
Yeah, and trying to sell you stuff.
Instead of texting.
I'm just curious. Okay, so my first job.
Yes.
So I was living with my mom in Florida, and we both had no money. We were living in a 1-bedroom apartment. I think I had a mattress on the ground in the living room. And we both were applying for jobs at places because she obviously had experience with other things. She's been a paralegal before. My mom's been a single mom my whole life. And so she was just trying to get anything, really. We applied to rallies together. We applied to fast food. Like we were like,
Rally's fries.
Oh my gosh, those curly fries. So anyways, so we both applied at Chili's, and I got hired. And so so my orientation was coming up, and I had to love Chili's food, by the way. Like, Nick doesn't like it, so I never get to go. But that loaded potato soup, oh, so good. And then the little skillet they have with like the fries and oh fuck yeah, oh my gosh.
I'm not a big Chili's fan.
Chili's fan? Yes or no? So orientation was coming, and I had to have like black pants, and you had to purchase certain things to wear. Us being super broke, I did not have these things. And so we went out and bought them. My mom had like no money, so she spent like literally like the last money in her bank account to get me these clothes so I could start this job. And the idea was to bring money in for both of us. I wasn't trying to have a job so I could go buy a car, like I just wanted to help my mom and help us like support our lives. And so I go to orientation, and I'm filling out the whole thing with everybody, and like I hand it in, and the manager like pulls me aside and is like, you're only 15? And I was like, yeah, like I put that on my original application. I'm 15 years old. And like, cause you can only work a certain amount of hours, and you know what I mean? That sort of thing. And so he told me that I couldn't work there because they didn't realize I was 15. So obviously I was crushed. Like I was super stoked that I got like my first job, and like I was going to be able to help my mom out. And yeah, so then so I got in the car, and she's like, "Wait, what? Like they told like they like rescinded their like job offer?" And I was like, "Yeah, essentially." And so she called corporate and basically told them what happened, and they refunded the money that we spent on the clothes because we couldn't return them, and we didn't have the money to be spending on like the black pants that I needed and the shoes that I needed. And so it was nice enough that they did that. I mean, as they should. Like you don't hire someone without knowing their age. So anyways, that was like my first job, but I didn't ever get a paycheck. So my next job after that was I got hired at Zoomies, and I worked there. And I feel like working retail is almost like being like an annoying salesperson who cold calls people. Like I was so sick of trying to sell people shit and like bug them, because you had to sell a certain amount per hour to like keep your job or get bonuses or something. I can't really remember, but I just felt like I was pestering everyone. Like, can I help you? Can I help you find something? How about this one? How about this one? And I just am not like that at all. Like, I don't like selling people on things or being like a nuisance, I guess.
Which Zoomies did you work at?
Medford, Oregon.
Oh.
Also known as Methford, Oregon. If you know, you know. Yeah, I lived in Medford. My mom did a bit of moving around, so there was quite a bit of moving around from Oregon to Florida. Now she's in Iowa, well, Illinois, kind of on the border. But yeah, and then when I moved out on my own when I was like 16, I worked at a pet store. I had two jobs, actually. I worked at a pet store, which was like made for me, because if you don't know, I have an animal channel here on YouTube. And if you're listening, then over on YouTube, I have an animal channel. And I've got a bunch of reptiles and stuff. So I was like, this is cool. And I lived in Louisiana. I lived in Baton Rouge, and you can have ferrets there. So there was ferrets at the pet store, and it was so fun. And I got a ferret from there. Her name was Emily. And I loved taking care of the sun conures and like all the African grays and like we had puppies too. We sold puppies there, which I know what I know now about it, and that's terrible. But loved playing with the puppies and the rats, and like I just really enjoyed working there. And I was good at my job. My boss was kind of an asshole. I'm the type of person that asks a lot of questions because I want to know the reason behind things.
Right.
He got annoyed with me. He'd be like, "Don't ask me a million questions, just go do it." And I'm like, that's not how you handle employees. Like now, knowing what I know now, like about past jobs, I would handle things totally differently.
Right.
But I was a little kid, I was 16. So, yeah, it was called Petland, and it's a franchise. So, I loved working there. That was rad. And then I also worked at a place, if you are from Baton Rouge or been there, I think there's a kind of a lot of these, but it's called Piccadilly. And,
Never heard of it. Just from movies.
Yeah, and I was literally the only white person that worked there. It was kind of crazy. Like, I loved working there. It was so rad. Like, the women that worked there were just so awesome. Like, just so cool. Like, there was one chick from, like, Estonia or something like that, and, like, a couple Mexican girls who were rad, and then just black girls, and it was rad. They called me Flaca Blanca. That was my nickname, and I just we had so much fun together. Like if you don't know what Piccadilly is, it's a line. So it's like there's people at different stations, and like I would do the corn, like, do you want cornbread? And I had to wear like hair cap on my head, and so it was not cute. And I got hit on one time while I was out on my break. I don't know how, in that atrocious outfit that I wore, but I got asked out on a date. But yeah, so I just worked with all the ladies there, like on the line, and I just like had so much fun. Like the stories that these ladies had, and their nails were all long, and like, oh my gosh, they were so fun. So I had a really good time working there. That was like a really, really fun job. So I worked both of those jobs at the same time. The only thing about Piccadilly was that often there would be like a cockroach that would crawl on the cornbread, and I would have to like smash them on the counter and kind of do this before anyone would notice. Because like, what are you going to do? Like, that's so horrifying. Yeah. Like, you saw it, I saw it. Like, what am I going to do?
I would love for our viewers to tell us about if they work in fast food chains or
what it's like back there.
Because I worked at Bodine's Bakery, and I've worked at, Macaroni Grill, and I've worked at, I think those are the only food places. But Macaroni Grill was super clean, but Bodine's was dirty, and it was because of the people. It wasn't like,
is it Boudins? Because there's one in San Marcos.
Yeah.
Ew, and I ate there recently.
So this no, but the one that I worked at was at the mall, the North County Mall in Escondido, and it was when I was 16 years old. I worked there with like my best friend at the time. Her name was Jen, so it was like Jen and Jen. And we got picked on so much, mostly me. The manager was super cool though, and they like locked me in the freezer because they knew I was claustrophobic. So they locked me in the freezer.
Shit like this happened to me at Piccadilly too, and it was great.
Oh, I'm claustrophobic. I literally thought I was gonna die. And they like made sure that the back door was unlocked, and they're like, you could have just walked out. Well, okay. Like, oh my God.
That's so mean.
It was so mean. And they would like legit do the dirtiest things. Like they would put, this is why I got locked in the freezer, is because I tattletaled on them because they put tampons in the cranberry sauce.
Like used?
Yeah.
Why would anyone do that? That's disgusting.
I don't know. I don't know. And they would put
so disgusting.
Other things in the mayonnaise. This is why I like did not eat out for like years, because I was so traumatized. And when I told the manager told them, and then they locked me in the freezer.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah. That was gnarly. That was a really gnarly job. So then I went to retail after that. I was like,
you just made me not want to eat anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe only In and Out where I can see what's going on. That's why I'm so weird
about eating out places and like how they look and if they're clean, and like I don't like yeah, I'm the weirdest human being, but it's because I've seen so much. So
that is so disgusting. Like, how were they able to get away with that without like, I mean, obviously they didn't because you saw it and told them.
It was just a bunch of kids. Like, they were just kids, and there was no manager there, and they were all friends. So I think they just thought it was funny. I don't know. Like, it was really disgusting. It was bad. And I quit very shortly after that because I don't know. I almost stayed because I was like, I want to make sure that like this doesn't keep happening. But yeah, it was bad. Anyway, but then I went and I worked retail.
I would much rather work retail than work somewhere like that. That would traumatize you for sure.
Absolutely. But I think I worked at 5 different retail stores.
Wow.
I worked at Charlotte Russe.
You'd be really good at that though.
I was really good. Yeah. I was a top seller, but
of course.
I worked at Charlotte Russe. I worked at the Outhouse. Do you remember the Outhouse? It was like,
I do.
Yeah, it was like No Fear, but the dressing rooms were porta potties. And it was like Fox and all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Holy shit, there was one at Parkway Plaza.
So I worked there. I worked at, I think it was called Mr. Rags or something like that. It was all like underground kind of rapper type feel stuff, like in Oceanside. And I worked at like a couple like no-name places. They were just like clothing stores that, you know, sold cheap clothes or whatever, but
so you're going to do really well at our next business endeavor.
I know. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Little Easter egg.
Easter egg. Yes. So.
How T-Swift of us.
Love T-Swift.
Me too.
So.
I love our cats.
Cats
I'm getting a new cat on Saturday.
What?
Just throwing that in there. My mom is flying, and she was like, Her cat's name is Tipper, and she's like the sweetest little cat, I guess. So I've never met her. My mom's had this cat for a while. My mom is like the crazy cat lady. She always has lots of cats. Like she'll send me pictures of like 7 cats sleeping on her. It's so funny. But she was like, I have to rehome this cat because my brother got out of prison and got his cat back from my mom. And this was a few years ago. And he, unfortunately, when he was born, his lungs weren't fully developed. So he has really bad, like, he's like immune compromised and like has like
the cat or your brother?
My brother.
Okay.
And he was a preemie when he was born, and he had.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, his lungs were just fucked up and not formed properly. So he has really bad allergies, and so having the cat in his apartment. Anyways, long story shorter, he had to give the cat back to my mom. And this new cat, Tipper, not new, she's not new, but this cat, Tipper, does not get along with this other cat. So it's like, and the apartment's small. And so she's like, I have to find a new home for her. I was like, well, I was actually thinking about getting another cat because I basically told my cat, Joseph, that if you don't start cuddling with me and like giving me some fucking attention and let me love you, we're going to bring another cat in here. We're going to, this
Seems
bitch.
reasonable.
Yeah, we're bringing another cat in this bitch. So I was like, well, why don't you just put her on the plane with you, and like she says she got a little carrier for her, is gonna bring her on the plane and bring her to me.
So cute.
I put together her little cat tree yesterday, and it was like made for kittens or like ants. It's very small, so I need to like return it and leave a bad review on Amazon. But where was I don't even know where I was going with this cat story and this. I think it was like squirrel moment. Well, I was talking about working at a pet store and the ferret that I had.
Oh, I worked at Vaughn's.
Hard.
Have you worked at a grocery store?
No.
I was a bag girl.
A bag girl?
Bag.
They made good money, right?
No, the cashiers do.
Oh, I thought baggers made great money.
Maybe I did. I don't know. I don't remember. I love to go and collect the carts because then I got to be outside. And smoke cigarettes because I smoked then.
Nick always gets mad when I leave my cart not in the cart receptacle thing. And I'm like, I'm making jobs.
That's what I say. And I was the person that went and collected carts. Please.
You loved it.
Leave your carts because we love to get sent outside to go collect carts. It's like we fight for that position. When someone's like, who wants to go get carts? It's like we're all fighting for it. So I leave my carts out happily. And I've actually been yelled at by somebody once too. It's some old man in a car. And he's like, that's like, you're so privileged. I'm like,
mind your own fucking business, old man.
Like, I've done this before. I know what I'm doing.
Also, mind your business.
Yeah.
If you don't want to return your cart, you don't have to. There's no sign that says you must return your cart. Did you know that in Germany, you have to like use a coin to get the cart out of the locky thing, and you don't get it back until you put the cart back in the locky thing and it pops your coin out. Huh. Nobody steals carts.
Yeah, we're just making jobs. That's how I see it.
If
you work at a grocery store, do you like going out to collect the carts? Like,
I feel like, yeah.
I loved it. So I would love to know what you guys thought, or if you've worked at a grocery store, because it was the highlight of my day.
I always return them now to the receptacle because Nick doesn't like it when I don't.
See, I'd be so bummed.
I try to be nice to him and do what he wants.
Well, you can tell him from me that I loved it. It was the highlight of my day.
That's good to know. That's good to know because I felt like it was like I felt like it was like somewhat lazy, but I feel like it was also kind of a good thing. Like literally, like this is someone's job or part of their job, but maybe I'm just making more work for somebody also. I don't know. Maybe that's an asshole thing to do. I don't know.
See, I think if I hated it, I would be very aware of it and be like, okay, I remember I hated this, but like I loved it, so I just am like, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be a bad thing.
Some people get pissed.
It's so weird. It's like, mind your business. Like that's what you're gonna do with your day is like tell someone to like yell at them to put their cart back. Like who needs that in their life?
I like PTSD from it now. Every time I don't put my cart back, I'm like,
he's lucky he didn't say that to me. I would have fucking ripped him a new asshole.
Well, I mean, I did.
I hope you did.
I did. I'm like nice till you cross me, and then like I can't stand like injustice and like. And to me, like, that's not cool. Like, I didn't do anything to you. Why are you doing that to me? And I know that I'm not doing anything mean to anybody. Like, so, yeah, I went off on him, and he got in his car and drove away.
Yeah,
like
I can't.
Coward.
Fucking asshole. I can't stand when people try and, like, push their opinions and what they think you should do on you. Like, mind your own motherfucking business. Like, what I'm doing has nothing to do with you. It's not hurting anyone. Like, if you interject your opinion, you're gonna get an earful. Like, fuck right off. Not today, Satan. One of my worst jobs. Okay, so like I never really liked any of my jobs other than the pet store because I always wanted to own my own business, and I didn't like, I guess I shouldn't say I never liked them. I did enjoy aspects, but so many times I just wanted to own it myself so I could do it the way that I wanted to do it. But I definitely did go over and beyond for like a lot of the jobs that I was at. Like I was always trying to better their business.
Yep.
And like I would spend my own time like photoshopping like new little 4x6s with like our like I worked at like a little jazz kind of comedy club, and I would like make the schedule and like bring them in and be like, here, I made these, like trying to get more people in the door. Like I made a Yelp for them. I made a Facebook page. Like I would do this all on my own time just because I wanted to help build their business. So I guess you could say I did enjoy those aspects of it, but I did always want to work for myself.
Yeah.
So there's always that little piece of me that was like, well, I'd rather be sitting at home working on my own business right now, but I also did that while I worked as well. But I would say like there was always a fun aspect to certain jobs and then other things that I didn't like about it. But one of my jobs, I did have a boss who was interested in me. He had children and a wife, and he invited me to a show. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, I don't have the money to go see Weezer or do anything like this. So, like, it'll be friendly. His brother is going with us. And I just thought it would be like, you know, I was naive. And maybe I didn't chose not to see certain things. Yeah. But, like, I feel like if I had been smart about it or real, I would have picked up on things. But I was excited to go see Weezer because I couldn't afford to go do anything like that. So I went with him, and then he like he was flirting with me on the drive there, and I should have just driven myself, but I had a really old car that would like roll when it was on a hill, like in park. The window wouldn't roll down. Like it was not reliable. Like this same boss actually like picked me up on the side of the road one time because my car broke down on the side of the 101 in Hollywood. Not a safe place to break down.
Yeah, no.
So anyways, I let him drive me, and he's like kind of flirty, and anyways, like tried to like, I had text messages where he was trying to like come back to my house and like was talking dirty, and I was not like feeding into it at all. I was kind of like, no, I'm going to bed. And I actually got fired. So essentially he fired me because I didn't sleep with him. And if that had happened to me now, I have much more of a backbone and speak my mind, and I respect myself and demand a certain level of respect from other people. And I just would not have been swindled like that. Like nowadays, I would have most definitely made sure that his wife knew about it. And I don't know exactly how I would handle it, but I would probably fucking sue him and his company.
Oh, yeah.
I wish that I had done that. And I wish that I had saved the text messages because I literally had the text message from the guy. I was like 19 or something, and he was like in his late 30s or something like that.
So messed up.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy. But that was probably like, I wouldn't say it was my worst job, but like it was uncomfortable, especially after that show that I went to with him. I'm trying to think if I had like any jobs that were just like downright like hated it. You know, I worked at dog groomer for a minute before I was 18, and kind of under the table thing. I don't think I had any jobs that like I really like couldn't stand.
Was the pet store your favorite?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also bartended at a couple clubs in Hollywood. And, you know, a funny story, actually, speaking of going over and beyond, like I was saying, I liked to like make things for companies and help them like grow. And so one bartending job led to these people opening a place called Dixie Tavern in North Hollywood. And they loved me. I was a hard worker. So they brought me to work over there, and they made me the manager. And there was this girl that came in, and so I was a bartender and a manager, so I got a little bit of a pay raise, and it was great. And I was like doing a lot of things for them too, like out, you know, just making sure their business was like doing as well as it could, like what I could do for them, you know. So one day I got pulled into the office, and one of the owners, his name was Omar, and he was like, so one of the girls in here that has like not a secret shopper, but you know, that kind of thing where they would come in and like test the customer service or whatever. Basically told me that she told them that I called them coke heads behind their backs, which they were, but I never said that because I was also doing coke at the same time. Not at work, not usually, but bartending, I couldn't stay up till 4 without it. So anyways, don't do it now. It's a different story, different time, but different conversation. Anyways, and I'm looking at him like, why did I say that about you? Like, I fucking just bought some from your cousin. Like, what the fuck? So then he tells me that she also tells them that I've been stealing from the register. So I lose my job and I'm literally like in tears because I'm like, I did none of those things. I did everything I could to like build your business, to support you, to help you. Like, I've never stolen. Like, I'm human, but like I would definitely never steal or lie. That's just not something that's part of my character. I have morals, like values. I would not do that. So I was like really hurt just because I had done so much for their company in my eyes, you know? And so then I racked up all my overtime. I did like a thing and I took them to small claims. I was like, you haven't paid me. Like, I worked so much overtime. Like, I would clock out and then continue to do things that they like would ask me to do or allowed me to do. I had so much overtime that they just refused to pay on paychecks. And so they would adjust your hours so that you weren't getting overtime. I don't know why I put up with that. Now I would not put up with that. But I was like, oh, you're going to fucking fire me for something I didn't do with no, like, oh, someone told you. Yeah. And so I took him to small claims and I never showed up on the date I was supposed to like actually get the money, but they did send me like a $6,000 check. But I wish I would have showed up at the day because I feel like they would have given me more of what I was owed. Anyways, I don't know why I didn't show up, but come to find out, so one of my coworkers worked out at my gym and I saw him and I was like, hey, Mike, what's up? Like, how's it going at Dixie Tavern? Because he would work there too. And he was like, so have they called you to apologize? And I was like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, I have not heard from these people. And he goes, so the girl that said that about you was hired and got your job. Got your job, became the manager, and it turns out she was stealing from the register. So they put cameras in or something and finally saw, and the girl, like, that fucking girl, can you imagine being the person that lies about someone who's just a hard worker and getting them fired so you could come in and get their job? Like, I couldn't even live with myself doing something like that to someone. I would never.
People are so shady.
I was just like, who raised you? Like, I just couldn't even. So yeah, but even after finding out that, they never gave me an apology, which I was just shocked. But
so messed up.
That was probably maybe the worst job because of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also worked at Suicide Girls, like cold calling people to sell them their shitty merchandise and like shitty magazine. And
oh my God.
That was awful.
Yeah, Suicide Girls.
That might have been my worst job ever.
That was a big thing back in the day.
Yeah, and then it come to find out years later after I didn't work there anymore, the boss that I didn't like hate her, but I didn't like her. I thought she was like really like a micromanagey, like kind of annoying boss. And I was a little kid at the time. I was like fucking 18 or something. Turns out later, my ex-husband is like, oh, you know, Victoria, she used to work at Suicide Girls. And I was like, yeah, she was my boss and I could not stand her. He had hooked up with her back in the day and they used to date. And I was like, kill me now.
Oh my God.
Literally married to and having sex with the same person that has had sex with the boss I hated and not hated, but didn't like and couldn't stand. Like, I was so grossed out. I was just like, what was your least favorite job? Or like, do you have any like stories about like anything that like happened like at work that like customer complaining?
I bartended a little bit too.
Yeah.
That was fun. I went to bartending school even.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I did that in Orange County. I bartended. And then I worked at a club and I like got people on like the VIP lists and stuff like that for a hot minute. It was called the Boogie. And then I go-go danced for like a team and we went to like San Francisco and LA and like only danced at gay clubs.
Oh, that's cool.
And like gay pride and stuff. And that was probably like one of the funnest jobs for sure.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It was just a fun group of people. And I mean,
everyone's having a good time.
Honestly, like the gay community is so fun.
Yeah.
Like you can't go out and have a bad night when you go to a gay club. Like, I'm sorry.
It's true.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I was in a band. So I mean, that was a job and that was really fun. It was really stressful because my husband was cheating on me the whole time. But aside from that, it was really, really fun. And I got to do things I never thought I would do. I did get hired at Abercrombie, but I didn't actually work there.
Abercrombie?
What is it?
Abercrombie.
Or wait, or was it the other one? There's two. There's Abercrombie and
there's Hollister.
Hollister. No, it was Abercrombie.
Abercrombie.
Yeah, I got hired there, but I didn't work there. I'm trying to think. I know there's
Nick used to work there as one of the models at the front.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was like the thing back then. You knew that they hired you, like they hired pretty people.
There's a whole documentary about how they only hired a certain look.
I think I just was like, oh, cool, I got hired. Okay, I don't need to work there. Like, I just wanted to know I could get hired. That's really
You should watch the documentary about it.
I will.
We could watch it together on one of our nights. Yes. I started to watch it, and it never occurred to me because back in the day, like, you're just, you know what you know, and you don't really know what you don't know, and which is a lot. And, like, it's a documentary basically about how they just weren't inclusive in their hiring process, and you had to look a certain way.
Yeah, you don't think about that when you're in it. It's just like,
I mean, to a certain extent, I understand hiring people that dress a certain way and have the vibe that you're going for the look of your store and stuff. Like I, for instance, worked at a salon in the front, and I was sent home if I didn't show up with makeup and hair done. Like, you have to have nice hair. You work at a salon. Yeah. So I get that, but they weren't hiring like Asian people. No, they weren't hiring any African American people. They weren't hiring any like Hispanic people. And yeah, so it's just an interesting documentary, like about the whole culture. Yeah.
Oh, I worked at Body Gems.
What is Body Gems?
It's like a kiosk at the mall where they sell body piercing jewelry.
Oh my gosh, that had to have been the worst job.
No, it was awesome. I was the manager. I was just like, that's where I came up with my idea for my first like patent business was at Body Gems, and I worked at Piercing Pagoda. That was probably that was so. Ugh, I hated the jewelry there too. Because you have to like lock everything up at night and take it out and count it and organize it. Like Body Gems, they're just like, I don't care. I paid 2 cents for this and we're selling it for $40. So $40.
I used to sell body jewelry on a website that I owned back in the day, and body jewelry is so cheap.
It's so cheap, and the markup is insane.
That's how I created my first business plan. I got my first business loan. I was like, I'm buying this thing for 2 cents, and I'm selling it for $40.
Yes. Like 2 plugs was like $40 or something like that. Yeah. And they literally were buying it for like 4 cents.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So hence why I started a jewelry company.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yep. And then of course I love doing hair.
I love doing hair.
That's a job, that I've made a career, that I've made a business out of. So obviously that was the one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I think that's it for my shitty jobs, my stories.
Now that you guys know our life stories.
Yeah. Have you guys had any shitty jobs? Do you have a shitty job right now? I feel like
the shitty job right now.
I feel like the work ethic these days is just not what it used to be, mostly. And I feel like I just see so many memes about people just being lazy and hating their jobs. Yeah. And I'm just like, it sucks, like, as someone who had employees, seeing these memes, I'm like, the work culture is just so different now.
Yeah, I mean, we were like grateful to get, it was like, oh my God, like we got hired at this place, and it was excited that we got hired and picked amongst
that's why you didn't complain about certain people. Things and maybe that you should have.
Like, obviously, like, you don't love going to work every day, but you were still like grateful for it. I don't know, I just feel like it's
at a certain level of respect.
Yeah, it's very different now. I mean,
it is.
I mean, there are those few that like aren't like that, like
of course.
In the younger generation. Like, I have a great team right now that's like excited to come work. Like, I can't get them to leave. I'm like, okay, we're done. They're like, oh, and they'll stay for like another hour and clean. I'm like,
you're like, go home.
You guys are amazing, but like, go home.
Yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky.
I'm so lucky. I mean, but I've earned it because I've been through the shit with employees. So yeah, thank God I finally got some amazing ones. So
yeah. Hopefully we have the same luck with our next endeavor.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've had my fair share of shitty employees, too.
I think our red flags and our instincts and all of that are, like, so sharp now. Like,
They are.
We will have the best crew when we hire for our new company.
She almost said the name of it. We already have a name and everything.
Yeah, we do. I mean, wait, who said it?
You almost said it. For...
our new company.
Our new company. Well, thanks for listening to us bullshit.
Yep. All right. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers. See you later. Bye, guys.